understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, July 7th, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have one new episode this week, one poisonously fun retro pick, I'm so sorry, this week. I don't know about you, Ed, but I am really enjoying my summer vacation. My summer vacation, in this case, being only one episode of TV a week to watch. If that doesn't tell you about my life, I don't know what does. But vacation for me is less television to watch. Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, no. It's now I get to catch up on all the Marvel shows I missed over the winter.
I have a genuinely terrifying amount of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes on my hard drive. Yeah.
Ooh, I was actually watching that as it was going. Like I'm like smack dab in the middle of season 2 of Jessica Jones right now.
Ooh, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, but we're here to talk about other shows.
Palmer's already firing up the email machine. Dear Sir and Ma'am, this is a DC podcast.
Yes. What else am I going through? Channel Zero, Drunk History. Yeah, I'm catching up on everything. Ash vs. Evil Dead.
I'm behind on Ash vs. Evil Dead. We're catching up on Killjoys right now. And I think, I'm going to make this Marvel again. I'm so sorry. But I think it's because Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out. And the Hannah Jones, her last name, is in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And she is the lead on Killjoys. And I think I saw her in the promotional material. And it just something worked in my brain. Oh, yeah, I'm behind a season on that. I should watch that. So, yeah. Marvel again. Okay, keep moving.
All right. So if you're liking what you're hearing so far, please do subscribe to us. If you wanna chat us up, you could tweet us at DCTV Report. Ask us any question you want, whether it's about the shows that are airing this week, which are Preacher, or if you just want to ask us a fun question, you can also email us, dctv@wickedtheory.com. And we're available wherever good podcasts are given away for free, especially Spotify. We're on Spotify now. Our executive producer, Bill Sweeney, wants me to keep mentioning that. Because that's a thing. It's a thing. We're...
I'm over here silently shaking my head in Spotify confusion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. But hey, you know what? If you can access us, that's cool. That's great. We'll take it.
I complain vociferously about iPhone's wretched podcast app. So honestly, I need to get over on Spotify and check it out, because if it's an easier way to find, stream, and keep track of all the voluminous podcasts I listen to, I'll give it a try.
Yeah. And so yeah. I think that's enough. Is that enough chit-chat? Is that enough?
Enough humanizing of the co-host. Let's do this.
There we go. All right. So let's jump into our first and only episode this week. But it's quite a doozy. And that is Preacher, Season 3, Episode 2, Sons of Bitches. Back at Angelville High, a scumbag teacher missed a payment for spiritual services, and Jesse was forced to let Jody and TC bring him to Grandma for punishment. In the present, Cassidy got a closer look at daily life at Angelville. Tulip began having recurring visions of the message Dog gave her on her way out of purgatory. Hair K Star shot up a temple full of Krishna Swamis before swinging back to Angelville to haggle with Jesse over his soul. Last minute reveal, Jesse walked into a hidden basement in the swamp house and started mopping the floor, ignoring the helpless one-eyed man chained in the corner.
Holy cow, Ed. Let's talk about all the things this episode did really well. We got your character development. We got your plot forward momentum. We got tying in of plots and themes from previous seasons into this storyline. We fleshed out TC as one of the most delightfully creepy characters going right now. Yeah, this was a busy, well executed episode. What did you think?
I agree. We learned the secret ingredients in swamp consomme.
It's not a patch of paprika. It's not a little pinch. It's not a little nope. It's not nothing that you would find in the spice rack. It's blood, Ed.
Yeah.
The secret ingredient is blood.
It's blood.
Also, the only ingredient is blood. It's blood.
Oh man, that had to be a real grinder. Ooh. I want to know, did they get that used? They couldn't have built that themselves, right?
And did they find one at a dirty, rusty swamp encampment? Did they? You know what? I feel like somewhere on the Twitters is a prop person for this show who could shed some light on where that came from, but I'm not sure I want to ask for those details. Some things might be better left a mystery.
Yes. Left a mystery. What do you think of that opening scene? Seeing what Jesse was like in high school, and that really sleazy teacher who, this girl was just all over me, and I think it's better if she just forgets the whole thing.
Gross. I think they were smart in setting up a terribly unsympathetic, air quotes, victim there, right? That, Jesse lures this guy in, sells him out, is involved in his apparently decades-long captivity, and I don't feel bad for him at all, although it did derail his assistant principal dreams, which is, it's a shame. It's a shame. But yeah, what an unsympathetic piece of garbage. But it did such an effective job of showing us Jesse the salesman, just like his mom, was the saleswoman. We've got him working the family business when he's young. We see how the whole Angelville machinery operates. Really efficient storytelling with character, plot, how things work without really being info dumpy. It was really, really interesting. But also, can you explain why teenage Jesse just looks overall bigger than adult Jesse?
I
just feel like they needed to cast a smaller kid.
I don't know. He looked like he was working out a bit, but I'm sure he might have leaned out a little bit over the years. He could.
It's the consomme.
Yeah, exactly, or lack thereof. But yeah. I also, to me, it's the kind of thing where, like, if you're gonna go through all of that trouble, make the payments on time.
Oh my God. You just dealt with a swamp witch, a literal swamp witch. Are you going to be like, LOL, get you later? No. You pay early. You pay that early.
Yeah.
Like with your credit card, you set the automatic payment like a week before it's actually due. Mm-hmm. You pay the swamp witch early is just good life advice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really just like, it's a little short. I'm sure it'll be fine. No, this isn't how that works. That's not how this works.
No, have you met TC? Have you met Jody? Dude, have you met Jesse?
So we get a little more insight into Jesse's upbringing. And you see he's been around this craziness all his life. And then flashing forward, it seems like he's a little preoccupied. He's got 3 things going on. Tulip and Cassidy are just trying to figure out where the hell they are and what's going on. And he's going through all of this stuff just to get his soul back and trying, to ignore the fact that, grandma's really got her him under her thumb.
Mm-hmm. Literally, it looked like under her gnarled old hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and this episode falls victim a little bit to the they're not talking to each other syndrome. Had Jesse explained to Tulip, okay, here's the deal. I get that the pacing was such that he really didn't have the chance to pull her aside and say, here's what we're going to do. And so because of that, Tulip's in the dark. She misunderstands things. She makes a huge mistake at the very end, but it's an understandable. I don't want to jump ahead of what we're talking about, but I thought everybody here behaved in ways that made sense, even if it didn't all work toward the same goal in the same smooth way. Everybody reacted in ways that I thought were reasonable and logical given the characters we've seen them become. So that really pleased me. Even though Tulip really, really screwed up, I see why she did it, and I feel bad for her. It's not her fault. It is, but it's not. And, I really, really, really like this. I need to pick a different word. This was a good episode.
Yeah, no.
And we got it to the end of the world.
Yeah. And it's Jesse's fault for not being truthful with her, for not being transparent and upfront and saying, hey, this is the deal. Like, I don't understand why she, maybe he's more comfortable with her not knowing about Star. But you know what? It's something that he's going to have to deal with, and her not knowing it just puts people in danger.
I maybe I'm making excuses for Jesse. I kind of chalked it up to them not having a good opportunity to be alone and for him to speak as freely as he needs to. I feel like he's not being as honest as he needs to be about Grandma and just how bad and how literal her pull over him is. We see this at the end, but he's being a little cagey with her. I'm giving him the benefit that it doesn't feel like he's in a place where he can share that without Grandma overhearing or something. Maybe I'm just trying to make excuses for Jesse here because I hate we didn't communicate and that's why things went south plot. So I'm trying to tell myself it's okay.
Do you think Cassidy being around is making that more complicated?
Oh, for sure. I love that Tulip's picking up on this awful tension between the two dudes, but neither of them is saying. And she's got her own stuff. She's back from the dead. She doesn't have time to sort through masculine posturing. And so I think the whole fraught situation ratchets everything up in a way that, they're not talking to each other and everybody's distracted, and it leads to mistakes that are, as my 7th grade English teacher used to say, your fault, my fault, nobody's fault. It's where we end up at the end of the episode, which is back to square one, basically.
Yeah.
Except for Hair Star, who's going to have a new scar.
Yeah. And Hair Star, that gunfight with the Krishnas, that I said it on Twitter. That is the best gunfight I've seen since the first Kingsman movie. Since the church scene in Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Which was an amazing, amazing firefight. Yeah, I agree. It was well plotted. It was unexpected. It had beautiful shots. It was a pleasure to look at with the colors and the flowing robes and the action and Hair Star in the middle of it, just not even calm, but irritated. Who is irritated in the middle of a balls out gunfight? Hair K-Star.
Yeah, and the fact that someone bumps into him makes him so annoyed that he just grabs that guy's gun who was on his side and shoots through his head to get the other Krishna.
Don't be on Hair Star's team. Don't be on the opposing team either. Just don't go near Hair Star. Pip Torrens is so amazing in this, and it makes me want to. It's the only thing, honestly, that makes me want to watch The Crown on Netflix because he is in that, and I really want to see him in a role that is not Star, just for the juxtaposition, because I'm guessing it would blow my mind.
Yeah, and who is the actor who played the Swami?
That was Dave Gruber Allen.
Ah, yes.
He's a laid-back comedian who I actually saw live. He opened for Cinematic Titanic, which is the Mystery Science Theater guys when they're doing live shows in St. Louis several years ago. He's very funny in person.
Was he doing...
Ooh, way to name drop.
Was he doing his naked trucker routine?
No, he was playing a stagehand who kept assuring us 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. And he was kind of playing the guitar and singing. It was the laid-back hippie stoner vibe, basically what he was playing on Preacher this week.
Okay.
But he was such a funny, unexpected choice. Really, you could have cast anybody in that, but he was so perfect. Poor guy.
Yeah, and he's known Seth Rogen since Freaks and Geeks, so he goes back that far.
I didn't even 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon that. 6 degrees of how many degrees of Kevin Bacon? I didn't even put that together.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. He was the guidance counselor on Freaks and Geeks.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, it's one of those character actors that pops up. Oh, that guy, that's great. And then he gets shot in the head and you're like, okay, all right, moving on.
Oh, nice knowing you. And he did not want Humperdew. Nobody wants in the trading cards of life. Nobody wants Humperdew in their hand.
Yep. Now you were talking about Cassidy and TC before. TC, man. This guy's. I mean, Jody is big and imposing, but TC is just You do not. Because he down and dirty and that's just creepy. That's just.
As a woman, every hair on the back of my neck stands up at the thought of being alone with TC. That's the dude that women would say to one another after an encounter, I think there's a chance we could have ended up murdered just then. Yeah, I'm glad our car didn't break down back there. I mean, that's the kind of guy TC is. That's the gas station attendant who you're like, let's just keep driving. We can go another rest stop. Oh, so creepy. And my favorite, though, is Cass. TC, please tell me you're the worst person here. And TC just gleefully saying, nope, not by a long shot. Which, again, tells us so much about what's going on in this place without showing us. It just, so good.
Yeah. All right. I think.
Let's see. We have the enemies throwing goats. I thought that was noteworthy. That was funny.
Yes.
And
the boys.
Go ahead.
The boys. The drug dealers, the motel who they just decided to attack for no real reason. Just to instigate.
Well, but I love that it was all part of a plan. And again, really busy episode, lots going on, but just left hand is picking a fight with the drug dealers, while the right hand is Jesse trying to get his soul back. And then he ends up with manufactured soul that doesn't actually work. And it had a lot of spinning plates. And I thought they all worked really well. This season is off to an incredibly good start, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Now, that one-eyed guy in the basement of the swamp house. Now you've read the book. Do you know is that something?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I have no memory of a one-eyed guy in the farmhouse. And my memory, this is where you'd have to refer to our sister show, Preacher versus Preacher, because I feel like they have read this more recently than I have. But I feel like Grandma's powers in the book were actually from God, which always sat kind of uneasily with me because she's so awful, but she has this special relationship with God. And here you really get a sense that this is not God doing this. And so that's all really different. So no, I don't know where they're going with this. Ed, do we want to know why he only has one eye at this point?
Probably not, but I think we're going to find out anyway.
I feel like we're probably going to see it. And I'm worried it's going to be another scene where Grandma eats something we don't want to see her eat. That's really my concern, is that you see an eyeless guy in episode 2 and here.
Yeah. Well,
episode 3.
Oof. Yeah. Oh, dog. All right. All right. I think we covered that. Are we ready to jump into news?
We absolutely are. And I think the biggest news this week is that we don't have a ton of news this week.
Yeah. No news on Preacher. And everyone's gearing up for Comic-Con, right? So they're just kind of holding back.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a lot of premieres and a lot of drips of information coming out of San Diego when Comic-Con actually does hit later this month. So I think everybody's gearing up and it's been pretty quiet. I'm guessing next week is going to be a little quiet also. We'll see. But that's my prediction.
Okay. Well, what shows did we hear from? Or is it...
Okay, so we do have a little bit of information about a couple of the CW shows. Let's start with Legends of Tomorrow. Legends. We know that the season premiere, premiering this October, is going to be called The Virgin Gary. Which brings me such delight just on the episode title alone. And also, Jess McCallan, who plays Ava, did an interview and said that she actually had originally auditioned for Dinah Drake over on Arrow. Didn't get that part, but apparently they liked her enough to bring her back as Ava, which I thought was really interesting. I pondered it a bit. And yeah, I could see Jess McCallan as Dinah Drake. I like I like the direction they went with. Well, I like the actress. I don't super love the character on Arrow at the end of the season, but that's a whole other conversation. But I love her as Ava. Clearly she's somebody who knows her way around an action scene and can hold her own as a tough fighter. But I'm glad she's on Legends. It seems like a great fit for her.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. Now,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, with the Virgin Gary, would this show dare to go back to the New Testament? Would it go back to the Gospel era? That seems like a big risk. I don't know.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be on brand with the upcoming season, what we've heard of, that it's going to be mythological animals that they're hunting down. Mm-hmm. But honestly, with those showrunners, I mean, they gave us an enormous Bebo. Yeah. I wouldn't put anything past them.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just that Gary actually is a virgin. That could be it too.
I don't know how this is a question. Of course he is. We've met Gary. It's not surprising.
All right.
But yeah, Gary talking through Mary, that could be that could be fun. That feels like a Christmas episode, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
All
right. So the other CW show we've got this week is Black Lightning. We have a ton of information about new characters that are coming up on the second season of Black Lightning that they're currently casting for. Some of these we mentioned before in passing, and even those we have a little bit more information about, in some cases just character names. So we mentioned that this is going to get a new love interest. That's going to be Zoe B, a 20-something edgy social media savvy woman. I don't love what that means for, Grace, but that's okay. We'll see. And then we mentioned that Garfield High is going to get a new principal. It's going to be Major Lowry. So it sounds like maybe somebody with military background. And also joining the cast, we'll have Dr. Jace, a 40-something computational chemist who may or may not be a sociopath. The article I read suggested she might be a version of Helga Race from the comics. We're going to get Slovak, a 30-something real estate developer who will team up with Tobias Whale. Never trust a real estate developer. That's all I'm saying.
Why is it that the hard to pronounce Eastern European names always got to be bad guys? I
actually feel kind of bad for Eastern Europeans. I feel like they get a bad rap as like bald, scary psychopaths. Is that my own personal prejudice there coming through? It just feels like it's because I just finished Barry on HBO, and that's were his primary antagonists in that season. So that's why I'm thinking of that.
Yeah, well, if you remember Thank You for Smoking, Rob Lowe's character talks about, the only people who smoke are Russians, Arabs, and villains. So it seems like they're all kind of like, it's weird. It's sad.
It is.
But, I'm sure there's representation somewhere. Somewhere.
More inclusion for Eastern Europeans with a lot of Z's and B's in their names. I agree.
Well, all they got to do is bring Geoforce into it, who is a member of the Outsiders, and maybe we'll be able to clean that up a bit.
Well, and I know nothing about it, but the Outsiders is related to Black Lightning, right? So that is within the realm of possibility.
Yes, it is.
Well, there you go. Last character announcement is Perenna, a 40 or 50-something woman who is a telepath and a therapist who's going to be working with Jennifer so Jennifer can better understand and manage her powers. So apparently Jennifer is going to be seeing a metahuman counselor, which I think sounds fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
So as those casting announcements drop, you will hear them here first. Well, you'll hear them on Twitter first, but then you'll hear them here with us as we banter about them.
Of course.
In a way that will be better than Twitter, obviously. Okay, moving over to DC Universe, the new streaming service. We still don't have a date or a price or how we're going to access it or, any of that. But we have some more information about Titans. And specifically that early reports indicate the show is going to be the darkest DC television entry so far. Lots of cursing, brutal action, bone snaps. It's not aiming for realism. It's going to keep elements of the fantastical, but it is going to be just harder all the way around. Also, the pilot episode of Titans apparently is going to feature flashbacks focusing on Robin, Raven, and Starfire as individuals. So it sounds like we're going to get some good character introductions early on. I don't know. What do you think, Ed? Does the DC TV universe need a dark Marvel Netflix type entry?
Well, I think it's odd that they're doing that with the show that centers around teenagers. You didn't think you'd go for the hard R there. I think it could be interesting. I was a huge fan. I just recently in my catch up, I just watched Marvel's Runaways on Hulu, and I thought that was a great, honest take. And if they do that kind of a direction with it, I think I would definitely enjoy that.
Hey, really quickly, I wandered away from Runaways about halfway through the season because nobody was running away. Does it get better? Do people actually run away?
In like halfway through episode 9 of 10, they finally do. They finally do run away.
Okay. It's not that I didn't like it. It just was a little. I don't like that Hulu doesn't let us binge. Oh. I wish Hulu would just drop whole seasons.
Okay. I mean, it did. By the time I got to it, it was a whole season anyway. So you could just wait till the end. But
voice of reason.
Yeah, no. I mean, they're kid actors, so it's a little like some of the acting at times is a little rough. But overall,
although I like a lot of the adults in the cast. Yeah,
and the story I thought was really solid. Like you can see the hand of Brian K. Vaughan, in the background, kind of, he dusts his essence over it, so you can kind of get that feel.
Oh, never say that again. I'm picturing Salt Bay now. Brian K. Vaughan just like pinky up, sprinkle in the salt. Okay. Anyway, Titans. We have a couple more bits of information. Hawk and Dove are not going to have superpowers in Titans. They're just going to be vigilante. I say just. They're going to be vigilantes with gadgets, apparently more than metahuman abilities. Ed, does that throw you off your stride for what you were expecting for Hawk and Dove?
I know it will upset some people, but I always found their powers really confusing anyway. So if it strips them down, you remember those characters for the way they look. All right. They show up once every 6 or 7 years, and they get like an 8-issue series, and then it gets canceled because they got to keep up the IP. So you know what? If the fact that they're getting any kind of live action adaptation, let's be happy. All right.
Okay, is it safe to assume that their powers include flight, since they are Hawk and Dove? What? Kinda? It's like calling him Spider-Man and he doesn't climb up buildings. Spider-Man, he's telepathic. What? Hawk and Dove don't fly, they walk everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I just remember it was the whole thing where it's like, it takes place in DC. One of them's a conservative. One of them's a Democrat. Hawk, Dove. How will they get along?
Hawk, Dove. Oh. Okay.
You never got, you didn't get, okay.
I just assumed it was like, I keep picturing Hawkman type. Hawk.
No.
And so I didn't even think about the DC thing. Okay, that clicks into place.
Yeah, he goes off rage, she goes off love. How will they work together? Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm more or less excited to see this incarnation now.
Yeah, and originally it was brothers, and then one of the brothers died. Dove died during Crisis, and his powers got passed on to Hawk's girlfriend. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the girlfriend was going out with Deadman in Justice League Dark, and that got that got awkward.
I'm sorry, Deadman?
Yeah, Deadman. The guy.
Do I want to ask what his powers are?
It's basically like Quantum Leap, except instead of traveling through time, he's a ghost who just inhabits your body. And he's forced to inhabit people and fix their lives so that he can gain entrance to the afterlife.
I want to say right now, I will bet $5 that we have a Deadman series on DC Universe before 2021.
Oh,
$5, Ed.
Oh yeah. Well, he's if they do a Justice League Dark movie, Deadman's got to be in there somewhere. If they do any kind of that, and to be honest, our executive producer Bill Sweeney, who for as long as I've known him, has been screaming that they need to put Quantum Leap back on TV, has said,
well, they do. He's right.
Yeah. If we can't get Quantum Leap, could you just do Deadman? It's the same concept, except it's ghosts instead of science. Yeah, and yeah, and his Al is a voodoo ghost. So
does he have a computer?
No. See, the whole thing, his name's Boston Brand. He was an acrobat in real life who got murdered, but he was a real jerk. So like he probably shouldn't have gotten to heaven, but because he got screwed in the way he was killed, they decided, all right, so you save like 1,000 lives or whatever the number was until we're satisfied, then we'll let you move on.
Huh. Yeah, genuinely, I would watch this. So DC Universe, take notes.
Yeah.
All right. Last little bit of Titans news. We, ages ago, weeks, months ago, we announced that Seamus Dever was cast in Titans, role unknown. He is known for playing one of the comic relief cops from Castle. He apparently is going to be playing Trigon.
Ooh. Yeah.
Who is apparently a big bad demon? Yes.
Raven's father. So if you're going to have Raven in here, Trigon's going to have to show up eventually. And it does make sense because she's another one who has like a complex backstory. So it's best to get that out of the way early. And Trigon's a cool, interesting villain. That will be fun. That will be fun.
As per usual, the only real reference I have for this is Teen Titans Go. I just saw Raven's father coming down and keeping her from dancing on America's Got Dancing Talent. Is that the same character, the mean guy who doesn't want his daughter dancing because she's a demon, for God's sake?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Mm-hmm. It's going to take some work to top the Teen Titans Go version that I have in my head. So.
Okay.
All right, you want to move on? Because we have news on Watchmen. We have some more details about who Jeremy Irons' character is going to play. Last week, we announced Jeremy Irons was joining the show, but we didn't say in what role. We still don't have a name, but here's the description. See if you can guess. Blonde.
Ozymandias.
Won't shut up about his intelligence.
Ozymandias.
Arrogant.
Ozymandias.
Erudite.
Ozymandias.
Physically fit.
Ozymandias.
If you said Ozymandias, I think you might be onto something.
Yeah. Case closed.
I mean, they couldn't have described Ozymandias more completely or fully. They could have said name rhymes with Schmozymandias, and it would have been no less obvious who Jeremy Irons is going to be playing.
If they go on with this much longer, it's kind of like when J.J. Abrams came out and tried to tell us that Benedict Cumberbatch wasn't Khan.
He's not Khan. He's playing John Smith or whatever it was.
He's John Harrison.
Don't you lie to our faces, J.J. Abrams. Boy, that was an interesting fan anger turnaround. Like we all knew he was Khan, man. Just tell us he's Khan. It would have been much better for everybody if they just would have said, yeah, he's Khan.
Yeah. Star Trek Into Darkness. Another movie I like less every time I watch it. And I probably watch it like once every 3 months.
Huh.
not that often. Like maybe every 5 or 6 months, couple times a year. You know, you go through the Star Trek cycle. You know, it just you have all those DVDs and Blu-rays in your house. You gotta cycle through them, right? Right.
If you don't play them, they wither away and die, like Tinkerbell and Peter Pan.
Yeah. Same way I torture myself with Man of Steel every once in a while.
Ed, you need to love yourself more than that. Come on.
I had an idea recently.
Yes.
To just because things that have happened over everything, and I saw the Mr. Rogers documentary a couple weeks ago, and I keep thinking, like, just to get myself in a positive mindset, what if I wake up every day and do my morning routine while having an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in the background, and I go to sleep to an episode of The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross, just the real late 80s, early 90s PBS kind of just flow through me, if that would have any positive impact on my life.
You'll become the most chill, zen, laid-back dude in the Tri-County area for sure.
and Uncle Jay would never talk to me again.
I feel like Uncle Jay would gain in like rage as you became more chill until you became Hawk and Dove.
Yeah. That I'm sorry. We're getting way off tangent.
We're drifting. Okay.
And this is getting way too personal. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's a lovely idea. Happy trees. One last thing on Watchmen. Not really news, but IGN had an article reassuring people that Watchmen is in good hands with Damon Lindelof, and it compares themes from The Leftovers with themes from Watchmen, the graphic novel. And there are spoilers for Leftovers in the article, so if you haven't seen it, maybe steer clear. But for those who have and want to read it, it's fantastic. For those who haven't, I can summarize it very briefly as in both Watchmen, the book, and The Leftovers, the show, it doesn't matter what the resolution to the central mysteries are. It doesn't really impact the story in the end because the story is about the characters and how they grow and respond and change to things. And Lindelof nailed that in The Leftovers. The mystery of why people disappeared wasn't really the central mystery. It was how do we keep going afterward? And Watchmen, the mystery isn't really who's killing the superheroes. You know, the mystery is so much bigger than that, and it's so subsumed by the characters and by Night Owl resuming his activities and how that all affects and how Dr. Manhattan loses and discovers his humanity and all that stuff. So really interesting. This is one of those things that I'm going to say, I'm going to tweet that out when this episode drops. I'm going to forget, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to do my best so anybody who is curious can find that on my Twitter page. Hopefully. Remind me when you get to this point in the episode, hey, you didn't tweet that.
Sure.
All right. Okay, last little bit of news is for, you mentioned Brian K. Vaughan earlier, Ed. Why the Last Man allegedly is scheduled to start shooting in New York on August 22nd. Originally, apparently the filming was supposed to start later this month, but that got pushed back, and I am assuming that's because we haven't heard any casting on who will actually play Yorick. That seems like a fairly important piece of the puzzle. So hopefully we'll see some filming on that next month. Hopefully we'll get some casting news here pretty soon.
Yeah, that cannot come soon enough. And it's a pilot. I really have high hopes for this. And I think FX is the right network for it. Ooh, August 22nd. Okay. All right. See, go looking out. I know some people who do extra work in New York. I can find out what the working title of that thing is. We could dig up some information. I was going
to say you stand a chance of actually physically finding things out about this, like a detective on the street. All I can do is read about it on the internet. Curse my Midwestern roots.
If only I could make those skills profitable.
Step 1, live in New York. Step 2, ? Step 3, profit.
All right.
That's it for news. That's all I got.
That's it for news. All right. And I think it's time to jump into our retro pick, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Batman, the animated series. Episode aired September 14th, 1992. Pretty Poison. Batman helped take down a helicopter, helping an inmate escape from Gotham Penitentiary. Bruce had dinner with his old pal Harvey Dent and Harvey's new girlfriend Pamela Isley. But the fun was cut short when Harvey collapsed from being poisoned. Last-minute reveal: from her cell in the very penitentiary she took revenge on Harvey for building, Poison Ivy promised her Rose they would grow back.
Dames. Am I right, Ed? Dames.
Yes. Ongoing thoughts on don't get married.
Pamela is a great femme fatale. She was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I did like this is we from a fan perspective is we get to see Harvey Dent as Harvey Dent, just the regular district attorney, a little bit before something else happens to him.
No spoilers here. No spoilers.
And yeah. What a hard luck guy and with poor taste in women.
None of the men in Gotham came off very well, I thought, in this episode. Everybody in that restaurant was like a human hound dog just watching her walk. Like, have you never seen a lady, Men of Gotham? She's crossing a room. Everybody calm down.
Well, yeah, I think
she's a va-va-voom lady. I get it.
Yeah, it's the kind of, well, this is a kid show. We can't be that explicit. So maybe if we just, have all the guys ogle over her, they'll think in their head like, oh, she must be really pretty to get normal men just to do that.
She was a little Jessica Rabbit-y, I thought. They actually kind of drew her in that restaurant scene, and I was like, oh, I see the Jessica Rabbit in her. I see that. Also, I feel like never have dinner with Bruce, because he laughed when his friend just face planted into his plate of brown food. And Bruce is like, God, you kidder. No, if I land face first in my food, don't laugh. I'm not kidding. Be like, dude, are you okay?
Yes.
It's not what we do with cheese fries. We don't do that.
Well, that's also like another side effect of it being a kid show.
I loved it
because the way that's written, like what Paul Dini or what Tom Ruger, who wrote this, was thinking was these are two just old guys getting drunk catching up, and and that line in his head was going to be, Harvey, you joker. Come on, Kara. You're like, this is a kid show. He's gotta at least sound sober.
I also, while we're talking about things that tickled my funny bone, A Better Safer Gotham 5 years later. So funny. Really, you're right. This just has that extra layer of wink at the audience. I think before we went really, really self-referential with it in recent years, this had it before that, and it's a lot of fun to see. Also, I'm assuming, as somebody from Central Illinois, that those machines that were building the penitentiary were yellow Caterpillar machines representing the major industry in my area. Represent.
Yeah.
Caterpillar.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so Pamela, she cray. That's
oh yeah, she's crazy. She's crazy.
And you know how you can tell? She actually put on her bodysuit just to mess with Bruce. Like, there was no reason she needed to be in costume. She didn't need to put on a plant leotard. She just did.
Yeah,
like, that's not normal.
No, not at all. Couple of things to go over. Just new voices we had in this. Diane Pershing is the voice of Poison Ivy. And you had Ingrid Olu, who came in briefly. She's going to be the voice of Renee Montoya for a while. We didn't get much from her. And all of the new actors here are pretty much just straight up voiceover. Poison Ivy, so she done the Flash Gordon cartoon in the 70s, Defenders of the Earth, Centurions, but nothing outside of the animation world that I could really see. But just does a great job here. A lot. This is another really tight. Okay, we've got one story. We're missing an action beat. We've got to have an action beat. Okay, let's have a prison escape. And
with a helicopter, no less.
yes. And did you like the way Commissioner Gordon's, no matter what happens, he runs out of his office with the same urgency?
Yes.
Right.
Where's my lunch? Prison escape.
Yeah. And Harvey can't leave without grabbing that extra donut.
The best thing that ever happened to Harvey Bullock is Donald Logue. Honestly, when I see, no wonder everybody kind of flipped their lid when Gotham premiered, and that's the Harvey that they gave us. What a huge leap, evolutionarily speaking, up the evolution of man scale.
Yeah. But
let's see. I loved that as soon as she went in to kiss Harvey Dent, I was yelling, "Don't let her kiss you, man. Nope. That lipstick is not good, man. No."
Oh, how about that? We didn't, but the scene where Harvey's interrogating the restaurant staff.
Yes.
Strychnine. Evidently the dishwashers in that place wear bow ties. I think that's a little much. I think that's...
Listen, Harvey and Bruce only go to the nicest places to get drunk and go face first in their food. Come on. They're classy gentlemen.
Of course.
So can we talk really quickly about the Venus flytrap plant?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
First of all, that thing's dying screeches were horrible and will haunt my nightmares. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking as an educator, I teach horror, a unit on feminism and horror in one of my classes, and we always talk about the vagina dentata. Ed, you and I have discussed this before, the idea of the tooth vagina. So I do Google image searches trying to find examples for the class every semester to keep it fresh. One of the very first images that turns up every time on Google Images is that Venus flytrap, the animated. And I have never seen it before in the wild. And so when we got to that part of the episode, I shrieked in delight. That's where that's from. I'm watching it. It's happening. So thank you for introducing me to something I have used for educational purposes without really knowing the context of. And now I'm going to be a better educator. Class, let me tell you about this episode. Heck, I may show it to my class this coming semester. Why not? It's a great example. The primal fear of the womb.
Again, more than a kid show.
It's so good. Also, Batman pulling a Catherine from the Silence of the Lambs. Bruce grabs the rose. You let me go or the rose gets it. Just like Catherine in Silence of the Lambs is like, I got Precious. What are you going to do? Smart. Batman is smart.
Yep. He thinks it through. He's always got that plan. Even when you think he's trapped. Nope. He's just biding his time. He knows what he's doing. And you get some cool fights in here. You get to see him battle all these plants. That cactus thing that was in the basement. Hey, how'd you like that for a trapdoor?
That it was a fun use of plants as weaponry. I thought even just the way she talked to the plants was so unsettling. That was a nice. There wasn't a lot of nuance in her madness, but it was so chilling. The way she talked to them was really fun.
Yeah, and this is very different from the other, from like Mr. Freeze or Clayface. We didn't get as much about her background. It's just basically she loves plants and she's very upset right now.
She loves plants. He killed plants. He gonna die.
And you know what? Sometimes that's all you need. That's all.
That's really all I needed with this. I will say, if I could give Arkham one bit of feedback, I feel like you shouldn't let your prisoners keep props. It just seems like you're asking for trouble. So she gets to keep the roses. Mr. Freeze gets to keep his, wife,
The snow globe
surrogate under glass. It just seems like you're giving them weapons and motivation. You're keeping the hate alive. It just doesn't seem like good policy, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's the same kind of thinking that allows people to bring service animals on airplanes.
Service peacocks are not a thing, America. For shame.
This is my service rose.
This is my service ceramic surrogate for my deceased wife, whose death I blame on my former employer, and it's shaped my entire reason for being since then. I need it.
And you know what? They both need those things.
They actually do.
So, all right.
It's like it's Survivor, and that's their one personal item. It's just funny. All right.
So I'm guessing you would recommend this episode to other people.
Of course.
Oh yeah. Cool. All right. So this was a solid retro pick. You ready to find out the next one we're gonna watch?
Super excited.
Okay. So if you're watching this on Amazon Prime, it would be or on the DVD collection, it would be Volume 1. Episode 26, Apartment in Crime Alley. I'm sorry, Appointment in Crime Alley. Appointment in Crime Alley.
Well, I'm intrigued because I don't have an immediate guess as to who that's going to be about. Unless there's like the date book, the planner. Wow. Cool.
I think you're going to be intrigued.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So I think that just leaves us with our winner for the week.
See, I think I went first last week. You want to go?
All right. So my winner, it's straight up best scene of the movie, best scene of the season. Maybe my favorite scene of this show so far. I have watched it over and over again on YouTube. And Hair Star is the winner of this episode, and maybe the show. I don't know. But that showdown with the Swami and the Krishnas, I think that was incredible. And he owns this whole episode. Jesse thinks he can outsmart him, but nope. No. Never underestimate a neo-Nazi or a Nazi, or never underestimate a German with determination like that, and that kind of authority. Yeah.
Well, here's where I run the risk of you terminating our podcast relationship, because that actually wasn't my favorite fight scene of the show.
Oh, really?
It was great. It was wonderful. I like the Sundowner Motel fight scene because of its cleverness and its humor. I also there was a couple of season 1 fights that they were just different, stylistically different, that I think I vibed with those a little bit more. And here's where Ed just cuts my mic. That's it. I'm done.
No. I mean, hey, that's a valid argument. Those are great scenes as well. And I can definitely see where you're coming from here. Less
gun kata. Maybe it was, I like gun kata, but I think I respond a little bit more to, I don't know. It was good. Well, now I need to watch all the fight scenes on Preacher all over again so I can have a better informed opinion. I will do this for you, sweet listener. I will watch all the fight scenes for you if I need to. Anyway, that's not my winner of the week. My winner of the week is Cassidy's reactions. Joe Gilgun can do more with one eyebrow than some actors do with their whole body over the course of a whole one-man show. I would watch a whole episode of him and his eyebrow reacting to TC talking about his dreams. His nonverbals. Do you like drugs? Very funny. His reaction to the Angelville residents, the reaction to Tulip, to Jesse. He does a lot in silence. And I super enjoy watching him. So Cassidy's reactions were my winner of the week.
Cool. All right. Well, wow. Look at the time. Look at the time. This is perfect. All right.
We're under an hour? Oh, wow. I just jinxed it. Let me talk to you now for 10 minutes about something off topic. Broadway musicals, go.
Well, thank you, everybody. that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
I'm at Sarah Netzley, and I'm breaking news now, Ed. Steve Ditko died. Like Spider-Man Steve Ditko.
Oh, wow.
I'm so sorry. I just saw that come across my screen.
Oh.
We can cut this out if we need to, but that's huge.
No, it's fine.
Not fresh news for people who are listening to it at this point, but super fresh. So that's
yeah. Co-creator of Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, the Charlton Comics version of Blue Beetle. Yeah,
I'm worried there's a whole generation of comic people who are hitting that age, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, it happens all the time. Wow. The other notable thing with Steve Ditko is he was a recluse. He was very adamant about not having a public life. Did not do interviews. Rarely ever did convention appearances. There's very few photographs of him available.
So the anti-Stan Lee.
Yeah. I mean, you have all of these crazy fan theories about about where he is, or what he's doing, or he was kind of a J.D. Salinger of comics in a way.
Huh.
But the man made huge contributions to this medium, and rest in peace.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm bumming you out. I'm Sarah Netzley. I'm at SARANETZLEY on Twitter. I'm so sorry, everybody.
All right. And you can follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice. And please, if you can, rate and review us, especially on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or any of those. That helps draw more eyeballs to us. That helps more people discover us. And check out our sister shows. We got the Wicked Theory podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher, which are both up and running right now. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam.